Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Level 1 News. Today is November 9th, getting close to Thanksgiving, and today we're doing business and social.
It's not that close.
It's kind of close.
We're doing business instead of government?
Yeah, this is kind of a weird sort.
I probably just told you the wrong thing.
Yeah, wasn't it one? I thought security was one for this.
I'm pretty sure
or was that for tomorrow?
I'm pretty sure this is government social.
Well, this is going in the bin.
There was we pre-sorted, so I think that's why there was some confusion. But it's fine. You guys are here for our lovely personalities and not our accuracy in remembering the categories.
So government then.
Yes, government. So let's start with the Pentagon. We know that the Pentagon needs big tech, modern warfare, defense, as they call it. Although, I'm not sure what we're defending against sometimes.
They need technology like they need warm clothes. It really is a disaster. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, what are we defending against?
Yeah, and the future of warfare is going to depend on AI, robots, high technology, stuff that you need to bring in the big dogs for. You don't have people in the military who are going to be able to do this.
I disagree. I think it's going to depend on things being fully up to date and Microsoft Defender, which is even more terrifying.
Well, maybe Google does have a little bit better reputation in terms of leaks.
Yeah, that's true.
So maybe they are the one to do this, but the problem isn't that. The problem is what they said in the past about not doing this.
Google wants to work with the Pentagon again, despite employee concerns. I get it. You work at Google, you don't want to help build the AI that's going to kill us all. But have you seen the Google papers? We're going to talk about this in, probably the business episode. But the leak from inside Google, you're already building the dystopian future.
So we're already in the dystopian future.
This is not exactly the same as the Jedi Project, but it replaces it. But I think it's more ambitious. There's going to be more to it.
Well, this is really just like an infrastructural project. This is like the Department of Defense needs plumbing. And it's like, ooh, should we be the plumbing contractor for Abu Ghraib? Would that be a bad idea? And it's like, well, okay, I mean, I guess, but there's a lot, like, maybe you shouldn't build the torture equipment or the databases. Like, those are, like, I'm less worried about plumbing than I am some of the other stuff, if that makes sense.
Once the plumbing is in place and they have that juicy contract, they're absolutely going to start working on the vision systems again.
Yeah.
Because it's already done.
Yeah.
They're just waiting to use it.
Yeah.
Those Hellfire missiles are going to be so accurate.
If Google doesn't do it, then other groups, like the NSO Group, is going to do it.
Well, that raises a good question. If Google gets in bed with the government to that extent, will other countries in turn ban Google? Because that would be turnabout, right?
Seems
Same
like
kind of thing.
U.S. sanctions 4 companies selling hacking tools, including the NSO Group and Candiru. I don't think we've covered Candiru.
Candiru?
That's a memorable name.
Yeah. NSO Group is the group that was making the really amazing iPhone spyware that is zero-click install that recently a lot of journalists and also the president of France were found to have on their phone.
They said, oh no. Well, they said, I don't know if they said it this last time, but when they first got accused of this years ago, they were like, we only sell that to very carefully vetted nation states and people who we're confident are not going to use it. And then there were like 8 different examples.
Our spyware is definitely not going to be involved in the dismembering and murder of the journalist guy. That's crazy. We vet everybody. They're mentally stable. That would never happen.
They don't actually use the product that we sell them, and they pay a high price for.
God, the Bloomberg paywall really does just butcher this one. This is about the cybersecurity person. I don't remember her title. But she is the top dog when it comes to cybersecurity, and she has some scary things to tell us.
Top federal cyber official orders agencies to fix their software problems or face the wrath of...
It said the big quote was, it threatens our way of life.
If we get hacked,
Ransomware and attacks threaten our way of life, which is kind of true.
We need to find a solution for this. We'll talk about that. We actually, in the business section, security. In the security section, we have a story about, they've put a bounty on ransomware because they literally have no idea how to help with ransomware. But we've got some ideas because it's level 1.
And the government is looking to spend a whole lot of money. They're having a little bit of trouble passing that bill, but it seems like eventually they will. And it's a big question of exactly what will make it through because there is so much pork in this thing. And one of those pigs is free laptops.
The free laptop program built into the Biden reconciliation plan. The proposal creates a giant grant program for free or discounted devices. Now, this is something we're familiar with. At least I don't know about Krista, but where we grew up, this was a thing. And it was also kind of heartbreaking because, like, when I was in high school and after high school, I helped out with some of these things doing tech support. And it was like, wow, there's a really brilliant kid that is in this completely broken and dysfunctional home. Let's give them a computer. And then, like, the next...
Their parents hawk it.
Yeah. And it was just heartbreaking.
We didn't do free laptops at my school. You had to do everything, like, in the computer lab during school hours. I don't think... They didn't do the laptops because of that reason where people would, like, steal them and sell them, but also because no one had internet. So
this woman made a comment, and she was like, "Oh, it doesn't matter if we build out the broadband if the people don't have a laptop to use it with. Why stop there? Why don't we give them free electricity? Why don't we give them free meals while they're using their laptop? Why don't we buy their house and give that to them, right?"
It's crazy because, like, there are community programs that will do this kind of thing that maybe have a little bit better success record than we gave them a laptop which was immediately sold for meth.
Also, the government is not giving these out. They're partnering with local programs. That's really going to increase the graft.
Yeah.
Exponentially. I think Level 1 Tech should get involved there. We can hand out some. We could actually get laptops to people who would do something good with them.
Yeah. Well, we have in the past. I mean, it's like, here's some e-waste that I've gotten for pennies on the dollar and recycled, and now a school has a computer lab where it didn't before. That's a thing. You can do that. It doesn't cost a lot of money. It's pretty cheap to do that. Basically free.
It costs a lot of money when the government does it.
Yeah.
And we have a little, just a sprinkling of good news on all this manure, although it seems like there's a lot of caveats.
There's a lot of gotchas.
Yeah.
The U.S. Copyright Office just struck a blow supporting the right to repair. So they've expanded the language to include more stuff, but the carve-outs are also a little bit bigger. So this is, you can circumvent copy protection for the purposes of repair and diagnostics and maintenance. The rules around video game consoles are really interesting. You can circumvent copy protection to repair a game console, but then you have to put it back. So, like, if you fix an optical drive, you have to put some kind of copy protection back in place to prevent pirated games.
Is there ever going to be another console with an optical drive? Probably not. I can't see it. Well, this is a great one, and a lot of times it's not the big government stories that point out how corrupt big tech is. It's the local governments, because local governments are less able to negotiate with big tech, and they end up just kind of doing whatever they want because they desperately want them in their communities. But it's not always good for your community.
The Dalles?
Dalles?
I read this as the Dalles the first time, but that's not what it says.
Dalles sues to keep Google's water use a secret. So this is in Idaho, I think. This is the one that's in Idaho. This is happening in a couple of places.
I think so, yeah.
They're using a lot of water. But how much water? And is it, more than the water table can replenish?
Oregon. Yeah. So people are asking, hey, how much water are you using? Now, that is a known value. Google knows it probably to the milliliter, right? But Google doesn't want you to know. And the city council and the local government also don't want you to know, to the point that they've sued to try to keep it a secret. So that must be a hell of a number. They do recycle the water. I wonder how much they lose per day.
Well, I looked at the Facebook. The one, Idaho for Facebook might be what I'm thinking of, but the Facebook data center it's a very scary number. It's like an ecologically disastrous number in the case of the Facebook data center.
And especially some of the places these places are located.
Yes.
They don't have a lot of spare water to use.
Well, that was one of the big questions in that one is, they were posting pictures of the local reservoirs where you were seeing parts of it you'd never seen before.
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, what? Is it maybe time to worry about this?
We might not be able to have drinking water soon. Should we be concerned?
But your Gmail will be up.
Which is what matters.
I don't, okay, Gmail, that's fine, but think about all the other crap that is going to also continue to be up, like all the worthless Android games.
Well, the Facebook one really hammers it home, right?
Yeah.
Videos of people murdering lizards are going to cost us our water.
It really is crazy when you put it like that.
We have this big push to protect the privacy of children. It's mostly just corporate, newspeak. Doesn't really matter. But once in a while, they will come up with a law that actually changes things. When they do that, unintended consequences abound.
CPS teachers, quote-unquote, blindsided after access to popular classroom software has been yanked due to new student privacy laws. So this is in Illinois, and like code.org is used for teaching computer classes and things like that. But the terms of service for code.org are not compatible with what the law is in Illinois in terms of information sharing. So some teachers have incorporated websites into their curriculum they can no longer use.
They weren't technically part of the curriculum, I don't think. These were just teachers who are probably a little bit more hip than the rest of them.
Yeah.
Using free resources effectively. But those free resources are big data companies, and they want that data.
What do you think the chances are that this is like the big textbook publishers pushing back? Because it's like, no, you must buy our textbooks because that protects privacy. And it's like they're not actually interested in protecting privacy. They're interested in protecting their bottom line because textbooks are a scam.
I didn't think about that, but man, that actually makes sense.
I don't know. I mean, are all schools going to the laptop iPad model yet? Or,
It sure seems like it.
so I don't know if textbooks would even survive that.
Well, you
But you
have
could
the
still do
ebook.
the PDF copy.
Even the book publishers want that because you can have the one-time use PDF files that expire after 6 months.
Yeah, in college, I had to have a key for my German textbook. And it was like, okay. So you had to pay separately for the physical book, and then you had to pay for the key to do the workbook stuff online.
Yeah, that's a racket for sure. So, but all aspects of education in America right now is a racket, including the young kid stuff. So whatever. Just give them chalk. They should only use chalk to learn. That'll make them stronger. Stablecoins are becoming more and more popular. If you don't know what a stablecoin is, it's tied to the value of an actual kind of money. So it doesn't have these big whipsaws, and people can use it more reliably. You can hold it without worrying about the value going down. And U.S. regulators do not like that.
U.S. regulators say issuers of quote-unquote stablecoins should be policed like banks. So PayPal should also be policed like a bank too, right? I mean, it's not issuing a stablecoin, but it functions like a bank more than a stablecoin thing would. So PayPal should be policed like a bank too, right?
We're experiencing a driver crash. There it goes.
Oh, no.
Every day. And when it comes to big tech companies and user data, a lot of the argument is, hey man, we just cannot realistically operate the service without gathering this data. Now you could, if you were one of those services, you could be like, well, let's put in a student version. And as long as they're coming from a certain IP, or if they have some kind of identifier, we can leave out, we can just use a hash to, recognize who they are. But they'll never do that. But you can do it. You can do it very effectively.
The U.S. government wants Signal's private user data that it simply doesn't have. So, yeah, a grand jury issued a subpoena for stuff that Signal doesn't have. But this is probably a harbinger of something more sinister. Because remember Proton Mail? It was the same exact situation with Proton Mail where they didn't have the information they wanted to collect. They could collect it. They were in a position to collect it by modifying their software. There's going to be an order where Signal is ordered to modify their software to collect this information. They're going to sneak that into law. They're going to backdoor that. It's going to be a secret court interpretation, and democracy dies just a little bit more when that happens.
This kills the signal.
Imagine the crazy situation we're in, where we have politicians standing up there preaching about data and being better with data, when they have done those things in the past, and like you say, will overwhelmingly likely to do it again.
Yeah.
To Signal.
Look, we have something that's architected to protect our data from China and bad actors. It's like, no, that's too powerful.
Someone criticized me on that. I must know who it is. And Huawei is feeling the hatred of the American government. They continue to go after them, even after Trump. So it turns out it wasn't just him. And we've gotten to the point where the rubber meets the road.
U.S. telecoms are going to start physically removing Huawei gear. Why? Because the federal government has a bounty on Huawei gear, and you can get those good old American greenbacks by turning in equipment over and over and over again.
It's going to be a lot of work for the guys at the ISPs.
Probably they can sell their old equipment to like Mexico or South America or something.
Maybe. And China, on the other hand, is also tightening some rules and making things different for their big tech companies.
China tightens control over company data with transfer rules. This is the headline here is a little misleading. It is China changing how data can be transferred out of the country, but really it makes it so that you have to operate servers on Chinese soil because the data originates from China in some cases.
Which makes that data essentially useless to you in a lot of cases if you're an international company.
Yeah.
Because they were definitely exfiltrating that and using it in their overall data schemes. So if you're a company that's operating in China right now and your whole business model is stealing people's information, what exactly are you going to do?
Well, you're not left with anything of value. So Yahoo has pulled out of China, citing the quote-unquote challenging business and legal environment. Also, Epic is pulling the plug on Fortnite in China. You can't install it from today, and by the end of the week, or no, the 15th, by November 15th, it's not going to work online anymore.
There's some kids in China who are absolutely devastated by that.
And Josh Hawley is seeking a $3 billion boost to Taiwan's arsenal to deter China. Oh boy, let me tell you, Taiwan is armed to the teeth. But let's arm them a little bit more. That could not possibly contribute to growing tensions.
Well, they're armed to the teeth on paper. A lot of that stuff isn't actually there yet. Yeah. There's specifically some planes that were supposed to be delivered earlier in the year.
Ooh.
Haven't made it yet. But if this passes, I will say certainly joining the military, the U.S. military right now, is a crapshoot. Wouldn't recommend it because there could very well be a Chinese war in your future. But if you get deployed to Taiwan to do this, you'll have the time of your life. Can you imagine? Because the people will love you.
Yeah.
You might get killed afterwards. So,
It's a 50-50.
There's some downsides.
Some trade-offs.
Now, we've just been seeing more and more of these headlines, country after country, because they've figured out that it's not just the social media giants that you can go after. It's these other monsters as well.
Clearview AI told that it broke Australia's privacy law and it's been ordered to delete the data. So they'll probably say, okay, and delete the data, but they still have the trained model. So
just make a new data set.
Yeah.
Easy.
Worked as intended, I would say, right?
Yeah.
They know what they can get away with. And Google in kind of the same spot. Except, I don't know, this is a little bit weird because in almost every aspect of life, a 96.5% success rate would be overwhelmingly positive. Not only would it be successful, it would be considered at the top of the tier of successful stuff.
Certainly.
But in communist Russia, it's going to cost you money.
Google pays fines to Russia over banned content. That's going to be $455,000 US, which doesn't seem like a lot of money. And the percentage that Ryan was talking about, that's how successful the algorithm was at blocking anything that's questionable. So imagine how much non-questionable content was blocked.
96.2. I got it wrong. It removed nearly 500,000 videos. So you can extrapolate how many it didn't get based on those numbers. It wasn't a huge amount, but Russia says you got to be perfect.
But how many more pieces of content were swept up in that? My goodness.
Oh, yeah. You got to imagine like 30% was false positives, right?
I mean, look at what we're doing in our videos. We're saying hilarious things that are just crazy mispronunciations.
We're probably banned. We got swept up in that. We're the false.
We have been a few times.
I mean, that's, you're really going out on a limb there calling it hilarious.
Tooting our own horn a little.
You know who else was tooting their own horn until they were really put in their place? Nigeria. Because Nigeria said, yep, we're part of this new wave, this new revolution. We are ready for a digital currency. Testing, what's that? We're ready.
Nigeria's eNaira digital currency had an embarrassing first week. So there are other YouTube influencers in Nigeria, and they tried to take the app for a test drive, and it did not work at all. So this digital currency is supposed to be worth the same as the paper currency. So it's a stable coin. And it's really just a transaction platform more than a cryptocurrency. It's implemented like a cryptocurrency.
Yeah, it's not like the currency had a crisis.
Yeah.
It's just that the app doesn't work. As of now, the app, or at least during the last update that that site did, the app was still not working for the clients. They think the merchant app might be working now, although what good is it? It has been taken off the Play Store, the Android Play Store, but not off the App Store. We learned a lot about the Metaverse last week. Actually, we didn't. We learned nothing about it because no one knows anything about it.
They have a logo.
Well,
That's
they
something.
do have a logo that looks kind of like a melted M.
Yeah.
But not a lot of solid details, and that seems to be contagious. Both the Metaverse and the lack of solid details.
Microsoft's own Metaverse is coming, and it's going to have PowerPoint. The software maker is embracing a buzzy concept with new products due next year. So I guess they're trying to, it's like Microsoft Teams with 3D avatars.
I saw that, and they look horrible.
Did you watch the speeches that Microsoft was giving?
Yes.
I think it's because of the avatars, right? So if you didn't see them, it's insane what they're doing now. They come out and they say, my name is Allison, and I'm a Caucasian Asian female with brown short hair. And like they just roll off all these things about themselves and their physical appearance. I think they're building a world where like you're building your avatar.
Probably.
You have to be hyper aware of what you're presenting to other people. It's hilarious.
Just a guy online did it years ago.
Will there be actual attack helicopter avatars? Because that would be amazing.
That's terrorist speech.
Will they do like holiday items that you have to buy? You can do skins for your team's avatar.
I'm sure you'll be given one holiday item for free.
Yeah,
You
but
can
then they
buy
get
the
others. And then they'll have a marketplace to sell the items just like CSGO.
Those will be NFTs.
You're guaranteed to be the only...
That's an L1 prediction. I bet that'll happen.
You're going to be the only person in the Metaverse with that specific t-shirt. Yeah, NFTs, hot.
Oh, bro, sweet Christmas skin. Where'd you get the hat? Oh, I got it on sale on the marketplace.
Yeah, this is the only one. You can buy it from me for 10,000 in Ether.
I gave Microsoft all my friends' physical addresses, including yours. And Facebook, we learned as part of their revolution into the Metaverse is that they are targeting younger. They have figured out that Facebook itself has been sort of marked as the old person social media, which seems to be true.
It is.
And they're not sure how to beat that, which may have been a lie because they've been looking into it.
Document reveals that Facebook's actually been targeting children as young as 6 for their consumer base. Facebook's hiring employees to build out programs for children as young as age 6 to 17, according to the company blog post. Ooh.
Yikes.
Not a good look. The EU regulators collectively sat up and were like,
Ooh.
money. Did someone say money?
Yeah, but they are right. That is the only way to win the social media game, as evidenced by TikTok. So I don't know how you do that and pretend not to do it. So far, they seem to be failing.
TikTok grew a lot faster in the beginning because it was kind of like the forbidden thing. Like all of the algorithmic filtering and blah, blah, blah wasn't working correctly on TikTok. So it's like, I'm going to say the forbidden thing, and then, there's a million people that also...
You'll always go where there's the most freedom, but everybody else will too, and soon there won't be any freedom.
Yeah.
That's the paradox.
It's like grazing. The grasslands. Oh, we killed all the grass.
That is a perfect analogy, actually. Grazing humans who don't know that they're just being fattened to be harvested. And the Metaverse is supposed to be completely online, but wait, maybe not.
To build the Metaverse, Meta wants to first build stores. So the idea here is, okay, look, we're Facebook. There's no way that anybody's going to trust us with anything online. Why don't we have a magical store? Think of it like Willy Wonka's candy store, where you can go in and you can experience the magic of the Oompa Loompas in person. And then, of course, you'll participate in the online experience. Why wouldn't you?
Here's the big difference between this and Willy Wonka's factory. To get into Willy Wonka's factory, you had to have a very, very exclusive ticket. Everybody will be able to go in here, including the homeless. You want to wear a VR mask after?
I figured you'd have to sign in, like, with your account.
With your DNA profile.
Yeah.
I bet there's plenty of homeless people with Facebook accounts.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll have to be a paid member. of the metaverse. Own at least one holiday item from holiday 2021
Flair,
to access this cafe.
NFTs.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they will have a lot of problems not only with that, but with people being that now people have a physical location that they can protest at and like attack Facebook.
It'll be like the Apple stores when the people finally turn on Apple.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting. And Meta, as I think we pointed out last week, but now we've learned more about it, is something, I mean, it's pretty common. There's been businesses that used it before, including technology businesses.
Startup says that it applied to trademark Meta before Facebook, but it may be willing to stand down if Mark Zuckerberg pays up.
Yeah, I would be too. For about 50 mil.
At what point, though, what if you could just set the price? Like, 50 million is going to be a little bit of an uphill battle. You'll have to invest some time and money and stuff. But, you know, if you just said it was like 2 or 3 million, you think they would just give that to you to go away? It's like, this isn't right. We're just take this and go.
Yeah, but I'm not confident 3 million would get me through the rest of my life with hyperinflation.
Yeah.
I think I would have to get at least 10 after taxes. So we're talking about like 15. I think you would also go for that.
Yeah, they might just give you that.
But then you have a company that you're going to have to wind down.
Yeah.
So you might be costing a lot of people problems there. Are you going to share the wealth? Better make it 20. We learned more and more about Trump's social network that is coming, including what it is running on, which is pure open source, but they have modified it a little bit.
Mastodon.
Someone did not read the fine print in the license agreement for the Mastodon open source, but they will be reading it very soon, if not already.
Mastodon has put the Trump social network on notice for improperly using its code. Truth can use Mastodon's code, that's fine, but it has to let others do so in turn. That's the nature of a lot of open source licenses, share and share alike.
Which includes making everything that they use to change it also open source, which means giving out the source for the social media platform, which will be picked apart in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So that would be catastrophic for them, but I don't know if there's a way around it.
No, not without using a different platform.
Is this the official Mastodon logo?
I think so. Maybe not.
I don't like it.
I don't think it would scale well. It's cute. It's a cute illustration.
Also, whoever made this really, really missed the mark, not giving that little Mastodon Trump hair.
Well, if that's the logo for Mastodon, they might have made that before the Trump affiliation.
No, but The Verge should have put
should
their
have
art
reanimated
person.
it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What do we got for tomorrow?
Business and
Was it security? Yeah,
Probably.
security.
Woo.
All right, we'll see you guys then. Bye. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Level 1 News. Today is November 10th, and today we're doing business and security, right? I immediately forgot as I was talking.
Business and security is in fact correct.
Okay, great.
We will start off
I knew security was one.
with just a tiny bit of hardware news. It seems like, I don't know if it will catch on, but the hotness that they're trying to make be a thing now is AR VR, specifically AR. Seems like everybody's jumping in, but boy, do we have very few details on exactly what they're going to sell us.
Apple's AR headset will have Wi-Fi 6E and arrive in 2022. That's just around the corner because time is burning fast. Don't forget about Devember.
And the Minecraft server, which literally, I've talked to one of the mods. We opened it up like Monday night. By Tuesday, they had already defeated the Ender Dragon.
By like 5 a.m. Tuesday. So
Yeah.
that was like 5 hours.
Yeah.
The server was available for 5 hours, and they immediately just destroyed everything.
God, I can't figure out, why is there such a labor shortage in this country?
And the jobs numbers came out today, and they looked pretty good, but then you start to dig into them, and it's like, wait a minute, they changed how they measure.
I think that's a lot of people moving up. But the jobs no one is doing right now is the lower tier stuff.
Yeah.
They don't pay well enough to bother.
Well, I guess that is how you have wage inflation as well, right? Wage inflation has to accompany regular inflation. That's how it's supposed to work.
That's also how capitalism works.
And if you are one of the people who is still getting inflated wages, maybe you'll check out one of these. I don't think the availability is very good,
It's been okay.
but it seems like people do like it. And once again, The old red versus blue race is heating up.
Woo! Intel 12th generation Alder Lake performance review. Chipzilla is back, according to Hot Hardware. So here's the article breakdown. We did the video too. The star of the show, honestly, is probably the i5 because it's about $300 and it's 10 cores. 10 cores for $300, which is crazy. The i9 16-core barely outperforms the AMD part in multi-core, but single core is completely bananas. So most of the stuff that you do with your computer is single core or lightly threaded stuff. So this design does have some advantages because you can dump a lot more of your power budget into a few cores instead of all of the cores. It's neat stuff.
It's good to see Intel back in the fight. I know a lot of people like it when AMD just mops the floor with them, but we all benefit if
Yeah,
they're
if they're
in the
fighting.
fight.
Yeah.
It does. I don't want to. It is really amazing that Intel has done that, but I'm surprised that it wasn't more because like Chipzilla is awake, and it's like, okay, this is pretty cool, but I want more.
Yeah, but if you shouldn't roll it out all at once. You stay only as far ahead of the competitor as you have to.
Yeah, that's true. And the motherboards are also still there's a little bit of a price disparity because you can get an okay AM4 motherboard for like $89. There's no $89 motherboard that will run these CPUs properly from Intel.
It's because they're so good. Well, let's talk about Bitcoin. This headline leaves out some other big names. The mayor of Miami has agreed to one paycheck, and Joe Rogan has agreed to $100,000 in payment in this currency.
Incoming New York Mayor Eric Adams vows to take his first 3 paychecks in Bitcoin. He's going to make New York City the center of the cryptocurrency industry, which probably makes the SEC unsettling.
Which is exactly what the mayor of Miami said about Miami. So now we've got a race going on here.
Are they going to try to pay city workers in cryptocurrency? Because I don't think that'll work out for them.
They are going to offer it. Well, in Miami, I don't know about New York. They have this, there is a company that is now started up that will offer your payroll in Bitcoin.
Mm.
And so that guy signed up for it, and he's like, yes, the next paycheck I will get through this.
Interesting.
I think a couple of guys in Miami have been already taking portions of their paycheck in Bitcoin.
Well, if you were riding from down around 25,000 earlier this year, you're feeling real good about that. But they're not going to be feeling real good about that if it craters again.
What's it at right now? I haven't checked it.
Like
for a while.
60,
Is it
65.
still
Right
60?
around 60. It bounces. I don't think it gets too far below 60 these days.
I think the highest I saw it was 66.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But more and more names are getting into it. What will that mean? Is the price going to continue to go up? We can only hope.
Fox bets big on blockchain.
This is going to be such a dark future, though.
It's not. There's a thumbnail here for a TV show called Crapopolis, I guess. But they're saying that all of their shows, they're going to introduce NFTs and let people buy stuff from the show online and blah, blah, blah.
Once again, we will do a quick montage to point out the dark wave that is coming.
Yeah.
Nike files for virtual goods trademarks in shoes and apparel. That's not much more to that article than that.
NFT Jordans, anyone? That's coming.
EA calls NFT and blockchain games the future of our industry. Meanwhile, Valve is like, what are you doing? You are the problem. Stop that.
I mean, EA's always been that way, right? Like they always have the microtransactions and stuff. This is just a new way of doing that.
Yeah, the quotes coming out of these executives are horrific. This is going to be dark. So they actually call this play to earn, but it's also pay. It's pay and play. So you pay crypto up front to get the game, and then that crypto is sort of like your ante, I guess. And by playing the game, you are rewarded with NFTs that might go up in value.
Or not.
But think about psychologically what that's going to do to people.
I'm pretty sure Valve did this first with the trading card games. Remember when they added the cards to, and it's just, that's just free money at this point.
Well, we learned that a lot of people were upset about Windows 11 because it needed to be able to get to the internet to launch your taskbar. That is a big problem. And now they have an even bigger problem that's kind of the same kind of thing.
Microsoft warns Windows 11 features are failing due to its expired certificate. Snipping tool, the emoji picker, and other parts of Windows 11 are breaking. Why? Because they digitally sign the executables, and the certificate that digitally signed the executables expired on Halloween, on October 31st. And so if you try to launch the snipping tool on November 1, it's like, sorry, this application is not trusted because the thing that was used to sign this application is legit from Microsoft. Expired. Because this is clearly a great implementation of a security feature in an operating system to have expiring executables.
Yeah, so if you were running that in some really remote place with no internet connection to speak of, and it was system critical and it needed to keep running,
Nope.
that'd be a
Sucks
problem.
to suck.
But here's the thing about it's like, oh, well, that's the price you pay for security. You can just roll the clock back. If you roll the clock back, you can launch snipping tool.
What a world.
We're in the dystopia. Why?
We're already here. Oh, speaking of dystopian, a Zillow story.
Yeah, the Zillow story is great because, like last week we talked about, it's like, oh, they're going to get some comeuppance for this one. That's going to be fun to watch. Boy, it did not take long.
Zillow seeks to sell 7,000 homes for $2.8 billion after flipping Halt.
What they're leaving out there is the loss. I think on average it's like 7%.
Yeah.
Whew.
So a bunch of rich people thought that they could, get rich quick. And for once, it backfired. Usually it doesn't backfire. Most of the time, it doesn't backfire. But in this case, it did.
Also, there were updates to this. I can't scroll. But I'm pretty sure the number was either 12 or I think it was actually 25% of the workforce will be cut to make up for that.
Yeah.
You think it'll be the guys that came up with that program?
Probably not.
No, not at all. Nintendo is known for artificial scarcity. They use it to amazing effect, you have to admit. But for once, they might not be making the decision about the scarcity.
Nintendo to make 20% fewer Switch consoles due to the chip crunch. Production is revised down to 24 million units for fiscal 2021 despite high demand. A lot of people are at home. A lot of people don't have anything to do. The Switch is a great console for home and not a lot to do and wanting to be able to game on the couch or game in the basement or game on the porch or game out in the garage or whatever.
Yeah, well, that is 24 million. How many do you think want it for the holiday?
Probably
50?
like 35, 40. There's going to be a lot of competition for the holiday. See, it's one of those things where if there was not a shortage of everything, overall demand for these things would be lower. So like if you're a forecaster, if the Switch is available and your competitors are not available, you're going to sell more Switches than you would have if literally anything else was available.
I hope it blows up like the PlayStations did because I'll sell mine.
Yeah, we've got a Switch. We'd sell it for the right price, maybe.
What's your price?
I don't know. My husband got it secondhand, so it would be like a third sell.
You don't need to tell them that.
That's true.
$1,000.
What are you willing to pay for it?
We've learned that Netflix is getting into the video game world, and with their whole streaming video game thing, that's getting popular. Subscription video game services.
This is the third time this game has been recycled. It started out in like India or somewhere, and then it was like general availability, and then they took it down, and now it's bundled with Netflix. So we got duped again.
Well, there's several Stranger Things games. It seemed like they made a lot of games over that IP for whatever reason.
And they make a lot of skins for it in other games as well. I think there's one in Fortnite, maybe.
But when they announced this, it was kind of like, okay, we're going to do the Stranger Things games because those are our games, and then we'll have some more games. And I was like, but wait, are you going to have some good games? Like, is that all you're going to have? And they're like,
the answer was no.
We'll tell you later. Well, now we know because it's launched. No, it's the same stuff.
Yeah. Netflix launches into video games for Android with titles including Stranger Things. This is the very they just
recycled the press release,
re-releasing this game over and over and over again to get headlines, which is good. I mean, it worked for them. Let's not forget that Netflix started out life not as a streaming service, but they literally had to mail you discs because there was no other way to do it. They'll eventually succeed with this.
They're a success story for sure. Now, they did add some other games, but they were so generic. It was like the Hoop game And
Solitaire.
Solitaire, yeah. Just the games that you could play on almost any device.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised Snake wasn't in there.
Is Stranger Things? I never watched it, but I remember it was really, really popular during like its season 1 run. I think it's on like season 2 or 3 now. Are people still really into it?
It's insanely popular because it's vaguely retro. It's vaguely, high school crush that got away. It's vaguely like
it's nostalgic.
But also like a little bit science fiction, existential danger, 1970s fantasy. There's a little bit of everything. There's something in it for everybody.
I cannot watch shows about kids. Although Game of Thrones really turned me around on that. Because if you're willing to kill them, and I know there's a chance, then I can believe in it. The reason I can't watch shows about kids is I know that certain things cannot happen to kids in modern media.
Spoiler alert! When they blew up the conference, the round conference hall or whatever, and the like the third child king or fourth child king, he just opened the window and jumped out. I laughed. It was like, of course. It
was the framing of the scene, I think, that made that funny, because he literally just it was a still shot. He just walked into it and then just casually walked. It was like a Monty Python sketch.
I love the fact that you referred to the set as the conference hall. Like they were in there having a some
meeting.
kind of, not even a meeting, like a convention.
That's kind of what it was, yeah. And I don't know. It's just it was the scene from the IT crowd all over again, where it's like, we found some accounting irregularity in the retirement account. It's like, oh, it's kind of stuffy in here. Let's open a window, and then he just
walks out.
That was a great moment.
Cersei had no repercussions for that, though.
For all the things they did wrong in that TV show, there were some great moments.
Yeah.
And that was one of them. Well, if you are on Zoom constantly and you hate it and it's the scourge of your life, good news, it's about to get a little bit worse.
Zoom is testing showing ads to free users. Well, this is the end of the ad. So the little thing that pops up at the end, it's like, hey, here's an ad.
Do you think that's going to stay that way?
Yes.
Really? You don't think they'll ever move the ads further into the experience?
Oh, I think eventually it's going to be at the bottom, like when you're watching a YouTube video. And
Yeah, that's going to keep creeping up more and more.
You pay to remove this.
They claim that they could not possibly keep the free tier without something to pay for it, so we have to do this. But how much money do they make?
Eventually, it's going to be, Baby Shark? They're going to have an ad that's playing Baby Shark. In order to get rid of it, you have to pay. It'd be very effective.
You have to buy a Zoom NFT.
Yeah.
Well, here's something that you might get for free. Actual free? No, that's a lie. You have to install the app. Ooh, I got that. But that makes a lot of people much less. Actually, they're going to do it anyway, aren't they?
They are.
Drones. Tesla
is letting non-Tesla EVs use its supercharger network for the first time. The pilot will kick off with 10 stations in the Netherlands.
If you drive a Tesla, do they let you use other charging stations?
No, I think they're all proprietary right now.
That's what I thought as well, because I have a friend who owns one, and he was like, oh, there's not. I was like, oh, there's an EV charging station in this town nearby. And he's like, oh, I can't use that one.
The Tesla Brigade just posted 73 comments. Elon Musk opened up all of the patents and rights for the charging thing. Anybody can implement their own. They just choose not to, which is 98% true. There's 2% of stuff there that's preventing Ford from using it. So,
Although, if they were just open and they didn't have some kind of control like an app or something like that, people would be abusing them in hilarious ways.
People were already abusing them in hilarious ways. There's that guy that he got banned from the supercharger network because he was mining Bitcoin out of the trunk of his Tesla.
Yeah.
Because of course he was.
I would think Musk would be okay with that.
No, because he's not paying for that electricity.
Yeah.
Musk is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Isn't Musk, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, he's excited about it when it's his money.
Exactly.
And it seems like China, in addition to cracking down on big tech companies in terms of data and how they retain it and that it never leaves the borders, they're also trying to get more serious about this whole thing where their citizens are miserable because the work conditions are basically slave-like.
TikTok owner ByteDance mandates shorter working hours. This sounds like a win. It's not. 996 is the normal working hours. They want it to be 997?
I thought it was less than 9.
No, it was like 10.
10 to 7.
10, 10, 7, yeah. So,
Monday through Friday, so there won't be a 6.
yeah.
Although, this is great if they reduce your workload. I don't think they're going to reduce your
No.
workload. So now you're stuck, not allowed to come to the office, but you still need to accomplish certain goals.
That seems like a recipe for stress.
Yeah.
Why can't we hire anybody?
I don't know if they're having that problem in China. And electric cars. Oh, man, I missorted there.
Oh.
Electric cars, all the other companies are finally bringing theirs to bear, and we get to look at them. Toyota has one with a bafflingly bad name. Really? Why?
Toyota unveils its first all-electric car, the BZ4X. An electric SUV packed with cool features. Is it, though? So you can get a 150 kilowatt version, which is a single 150 kilowatt motor on the front axle, or you can have two 80 kilowatt motors, which is 160 kilowatts total. Why? And that's the all-wheel drive version.
I guess this is the front wheel version. I don't see a motor in the back there. And they're excited about it. It looks okay, I guess. Not a terrible looking SUV.
The solar roof will add 1,200 kilometers of range per year. That doesn't seem like a lot.
They also have the Knight Rider steering wheel. How much do you love that?
They pointed out that that's not actually like the yoke like Tesla. They actually did that in a way that's more sane because the
150 degrees of lock to lock.
Yeah.
Which means that it's a very inaccurate steering wheel.
Yeah.
The higher end car, the more degrees of rotation. Yeah. Because, when you're driving it really hard, you want that. It'll be speed sensitive though.
Yeah.
But still, you're dumbing down the driving experience more, I think. I don't know. Maybe I'd try it and love it.
You ever driven an electric car? My voice got really high there.
I don't have any desire to.
They're fine. I mean, I don't really
What did
care
you
about
drive?
cars. I like that they're quiet.
What did you drive?
I have a friend's Tesla. I didn't drive it, but
Which one?
it was really quiet. I don't remember which one he had.
I've gotten to drive the Model 3 and the Model Y. And the Model 3 was definitely zippier.
Could you just stomp it?
Yeah.
Well, the Squid Game continues to be a super popular thing. More and more ISPs are trying to sue over that, by the way. They do not like the amount of bandwidth that is going down to the Squid Game, which is hilarious because that's going to become a badge of honor, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be like winning an award. It's like, oh, yes, we got sued by 7 countries because of the bandwidth. But it also spawned some other things. There's the hilarious crab game on Steam, which is #1 now. Someone made a really hilarious decision there. But also the Squid Game token.
Binance says it's trying to hunt down the Squid Game crypto token scammers. So this was a crypto token. It was trading at about 1 cent forever, and then it shot up to $3,000, and then it went to 0, and everybody disappeared.
Because as soon as it hit $3,000,
they were gone.
It was dumped. And they converted it to something else, and now they are gone. Everybody is in on fire FOMO because of that Shiba coin. I had my finger on the buy button. I swear.
And you were like, no.
I was like, let me just put $1,000 into this. And I was like, that's stupid.
I know somebody that put in $200 and they're up $5,000 at this point.
Yeah. I think from the earliest day, that coin has gone up 88,000%. Remember when it was hot to get your DNA sampled and they could tell you all sorts of things, and I had actually a lot of stories about how inaccurate that was, and maybe they were just doing whatever they felt like. Maybe there was a Theranos type situation going at these, but this makes it sound like they were more serious about the accuracy than we thought, but maybe for the wrong reason.
All those 23andMe spit tests were part of a bigger plan. CEO Ann Wojcicki, I'm hoping I'm getting that pronunciation right.
I think that's a Polish name, and you're not even close.
Yeah.
Wojcicki plans to make drugs using insights from millions of customer DNA samples and doesn't think that should bother anyone. So they're going to use all of those DNA profiles to figure out which drugs will be effective and which ones the population are more resistant to look for various things.
Does that surprise anybody?
No.
Who does that?
Did you see there was a thing where they identified there's a gene that makes you overwhelmingly more susceptible to the thing?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's like a South Asian gene. Now, if 23andMe found that and we were in a pandemic, so they could tie that back to you. Will that affect your life at all?
You get a warning, a postcard that's like, you should contact us immediately. And
No,
it's
you
like,
get a
what is it?
notification on your phone.
You get directions to the camp. You show up or we'll come and get you. Because it's crazy. It's like 50% worse.
Wow.
Transmissibility and infection rate, I think. I didn't read that story that close. Don't take my word on that. But search it out for yourself like you should do with all these stories. And two-factor piracy, hijacking your codes. I've switched everything off of... I'm on, like an app for everything now. But now Capital One, without even asking me, has started using SMS.
No, use an app. What is wrong with you?
Now you're still fine as long as you don't fall for this. But boy, is this a good scam.
Yeah. The booming underground market for bots that steal your two-factor codes. The bots convincingly and effortlessly help hackers to break into Coinbase, Amazon, PayPal, and bank accounts.
The biggest warning sign is what?
That you get a two-factor when you're not doing anything?
Well, I guess that is the biggest warning sign. But I'm talking about once it's already started, and that is the accent.
Oh, yeah.
The accent will give it away every time. The broken English, they're not very good at it. This solves that by just making it all text-to-speech. There's a lovely female voice that walks you through all of this. And it's automated so that when she asks you to read her the code that you just received, they initiate the code. So it happens as soon as she says it happens. And then when you type it in, they've got it. Brilliant. And evil.
It's going to get a lot of old people.
We usually see ransomware take down banks and other institutions like that. Rarely do you see just a good old hack that didn't necessarily try to exfiltrate anything. This was just...
Smells like nation state.
Yeah, it's just we want to shut you down for whatever reason.
Destructive cyber attack hits National Bank of Pakistan. So people can't withdraw their cash. We don't even know how much money's supposed to be in the accounts. They were so thoroughly compromised. They're going to have to restore from backups.
Yikes. And the Pakistan and India, there's a lot of people who they operate with cash and they just pull like what they need every day.
That doesn't work right now.
So you get into a real rough situation quickly there.
Engagement challenge. We have a fair number of viewers in that area. Engagement challenge. Like, how has that been? What's the fallout from this?
What if that is the Modi government trying to get them on the national cryptocurrency?
Yeah, I was just trying to think. Is this like China trying to destabilize something, or is this actually just good old fashioned India-Pakistan rivalries?
Oh right, I just said Modi, and that's India, and they hate each other.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Pakistanis. This is a hilarious one. It is whoever came up with this. God, it's like what kind of mind?
4D chess.
What kind of mind is coming in, and they're using it for such evil? Yeah. It puts at risk basically everything.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I mean, it sounds like hyperbole, but it's not.
The Trojan source bug threatens the security of all code. So the idea here is that you introduce code in open source programs where everybody can read the code, but the code has very subtle problems that will fall afoul of bugs that exist in the compiler. So the code itself isn't actually doing anything nefarious, but when the compiler goes to compile it, it's going to generate code that's actually buggy and has a security issue that is exploitable.
How do they do this? Well, Unicode tries to allow for languages that go left to right or right to left. It turns out with some extended characters, you can reverse that whenever you feel like it. So the code that you read is not the code that the compiler will read. And that can make all the difference.
So just stand up a GitHub action or, a Git hook that will just crush everything that comes in as Unicode down to ASCII, and you should be okay.
That won't break anything. And we have another kind of Android malware that's going around. Seems pretty serious.
New abstract emu malware roots Android devices and evades detection. So you get user-level malware, but it can escalate its privileges, and even when you install or reinstall or format your device, it's still there because it rooted your device. Krista, that emu doesn't seem very abstract.
No, he's a very literal interpretation of an emu. In fact, I think that's a photo.
Yeah, but they've added that
filter.
That like TikTok Squid Game 3D coloring effect.
The faux 1970s 3D.
They should have done like paint blobs that look like an emu. Missed opportunity.
You should email them an angry email.
What's the
Long email too.
What's the art style where everything is like just colored cubes? I feel like they could have gotten emu across just using colored squares.
Pointillism?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I think it's more modern than that. And the dark side, ransomware operators. At this point, we're kind of just saying we have no clue.
Law enforcement's like, technology, law enforcement, chasing them. We don't know.
I'm not sure what to do. The brilliant move here would be to turn yourself in and take the bounty and then just disappear, right?
Yeah. U.S. offers $10 million bounty in hunt for dark side ransomware operators. So, hey, if you know anything or you have any tips, we'll split it with you.
Just start approaching people on the street and be like, by chance, are you part of the dark side ransomware gang?
I think it's like $5 million for the tip leading to an arrest, and then like $5 million for a conviction or something like that. I don't know, something crazy like that.
You better hope they get them all, though.
Yeah. Otherwise, they're coming after you.
Yeah, and they probably have the ability to make your life hell.
I have a feeling that that's going to break ranks with some of that kind of stuff. But that opens up a larger conversation about, what would be effective ways of dealing with that, because we've got nation state actors that are breaking things. Like we have the NSO Group that's breaking stuff inside Apple. Does it make sense to use the resources of the NSA and the CIA to figure out what NSO Group's product is doing and then feed that information to Apple so they can fix it? Is that an effective use of government resources?
There's a lot of potential for abuse there.
Yeah.
Like everything in government. And our final story has to do with security. Wait a minute. What's security about this? We'll just think it through. I will say OnStar already does this.
So does Google to some extent.
And if you go hard enough, you can trick it. Like you can trigger it without actually, because it's all about G-forces. If you can generate enough G-forces, you will trigger this.
Apple wants iPhones to detect car crashes and auto dial 911. It's a safety feature. It's working really well with the watches when people take a hard fall. So now they want it to be, passengers in a car. Or drivers in a car.
Google Maps, if there's like a wreck or something, it's usually pretty quick to spot it. So like it'll turn the road red. And then I don't know if it's like a user report that generates it, but it'll tell you like what's causing them.
all
It's
automated.
watching the phones. You can report, but it's watching the phones, yeah.
It's like
Apple's
mysteriously.
behind.
Yeah.
You realize they do that with businesses. So like if you go to a business profile on Google, it'll show you how many people it thinks are in the store right now.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. And it'll give you like a little graph of busiest times, so you can avoid that.
I've gone out to a restaurant a couple of times the last couple of months because that's a novel experience all over again, and I've pulled it up on Google and I haven't gone if Google is like, this place is insanely busy. It's like, no, I'm out.
No thanks. Don't want to be around a bunch of people
Yeah.
ever again.
Now our restaurant's going to have to start like trying to Faraday cage the Android phones to keep that down.
Yeah, it's like, no, there's no one here. It's like,
Or if you're one of those hot nightclubs, you get a bunch of burner phones. you march them in and out all
Oh, we had
night
a story
long.
about that a long time ago. A guy like created a virtual traffic jam by just putting a bunch of phones in one spot.
Yeah.
That could be a service we could start.
You want a better commute? We'll pretend there's an accident there.
Well,
All right, what do we got for Friday?
the only thing that's left, robot nonsense.
Oh, classic.
Oh, we got a lot of nonsense this week. That's probably going to be our longest episode.
We'll see you then. Bye. Hello. It is Friday. Welcome back to the Level 1 News. Today we are doing robot nonsense, which is the classic combo. I think it's mostly nonsense, correct?
It's a lot of nonsense.
Yeah.
Robot is never the biggest category.
No.
There's only so much robot news that you can squeeze in, and I have actually expanded it to be both AI and space related as well. But that's the fun stories, right?
They are
That's
fun.
the cool stuff. Although this one may be a little bit terrifying. Could help us a lot, could also be terrible, probably going to be both.
Alphabet is launching a company that uses AI for drug discovery. Would you rather have Alphabet in charge of the new drugs or 23andMe?
It's going to be a combination.
Yeah, I don't know that I like either of those options, but
Would either share their data to get a hold of the other one's data?
Yes.
Probably 23andMe would be more likely to do it, right?
Yeah.
Because their set can't be as good. Even though they are literally a company that you send blood to. I guess it's just a swab, right?
Yeah. Maybe that's how you're going to verify your new Android. It's like, the Pixel 9 will have a little needle that you...
Oh, they can make it Dune themed, the Gom Jabbar. It's like enter your hand into the confirmation device.
What's in
Don't
the box?
withdraw it for 30 seconds.
Have you watched it yet? Have you watched Dune?
No.
Yeah, you keep saying that you're putting it off. I didn't know if you'd watched it since we talked last.
I might wait till the other one comes out because I don't like half a movie.
I was kind of thinking the same thing, but it'll probably be like, what, 2 years for the next one?
Who cares?
At the rate we're going, that's the blink of an eye.
It's not like there's spoilers because I already know what's going to happen. So what's the problem? Well, we had the big lawsuits that had to do with NASA and who gets to be BFF for the trip back to the moon with the lunar lander and the rockets. And everybody had their own little piece, but everybody wanted a bigger piece. It's been resolved.
Bezos' Blue Origin has lost its NASA lawsuit over SpaceX's $2.9 billion lunar lander contract. Federal claims court ruled that Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin in the company's lawsuit. No, stop that. What are you doing? Why did you even bother wasting my time?
He was very. He took it well. Oh, I must have read a different story. His tweet was. Oh, here we go. Yeah, he tweeted something very good. It was like, oh, you know what? Maybe that wasn't. Oh, here we go. His tweet was just very, like, oh, we lost, but I still love him.
I still put up a good fight,
So
good luck.
Now that's what you do if you're an adult billionaire. But if you are a child billionaire,
you have been judged.
what a prick.
The judge was a little salty with Blue Origin bringing it in the first place, but hey,
it was a ridiculous lawsuit.
Yeah,
let's be fair. I mean, if NASA doesn't pick you, you shouldn't be screaming and pouting about it.
Yeah, people also bad PR stunt there because people love NASA and people do not like Jeff Bezos. You're not going to win that fight in the court of public opinion either.
And I think they like Musk more than they like Bezos too.
Yeah.
I don't really like either of them, but if I had to pick, I probably would pick Musk.
Well, Australia is not a name that you hear very often when it comes to the space race, but they're tired of that. They're getting into it.
Australia is putting a rover on the moon in 2024 to search for water.
Weirdly enough, I feel like Australia would have the best chance because the whole inner part of their country is like the
super
moon
dry.
Or Mars. Yeah.
Yeah, but one of those spiders will be hiding under like a heat panel or something, and he'll get up there, and then he'll adapt, and then there'll be moon spiders.
Have to start carrying rifles on the moon.
And Amazon is not only competing with Elon Musk when it comes to getting to the moon, but also they've decided to launch their own satellite system, the Constellation satellites. But they are not quite as far along.
Amazon's satellite launch schedule puts it nearly 4 years behind Starlink. Amazon says it's going to test its Kuiper broadband satellites in space late next year.
Oh, you're going to get savaged in the comments for that one.
Kuiper?
Kuiper,
right. I knew that.
That's a word that I read as, when I just read it in my head, I read it as Kuiper.
So,
I don't know why.
Pretty much the same business model, but it's going to take a while. It'd be nice to have competition.
Starlink is impressive for the people I know that have gotten it, and it's not. They don't even have all the satellites yet. It's very impressive.
If they both cover the night sky and satellites, will that make it harder for us to observe?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the downside.
I think they've been talking about making them less shiny somehow.
Yeah.
But what can you do, really? Put some Vanta Black on them. Here's an example of fun things that you can do with AI because the whole world is under surveillance.
We mapped every large solar plant on the planet using satellites and machine learning. Turns out a highly reflective panel on the ground is really easy to spot from a satellite. So you can see, there we go.
Gosh, seems like the sunniest places ain't using solar panels. What's going on with that?
Probably because they're kind of still a newish technology.
Asia really killing it with solar panels, though.
Yeah.
Look in the middle of the Australian outback. There's some solar there.
What's going on there? Isn't that just desert?
Yeah, hardly anyone lives on the inner part of Australia, from what I understand.
It must be government experimentation.
You think they pipe that power all the way back to the coast?
Maybe.
Impressive.
Or there's a little town, little mini community out there.
It's all kangaroos and snakes starting their own economy.
If you're a kangaroo and you jump in front of the reflected sunlight from that thing, just burst into flames. Just
They're using the solar panels to mine cryptocurrency to further their agenda. Well, the Boston Dynamics Spot robot is the world's greatest robot. Would you agree?
yes.
Yeah.
Who else would even be close?
Flippy.
No.
They can do what Flippy can do.
That's true.
Mobile. Like Flippy's on rails. These guys could go from restaurant to restaurant and work that. But mostly what we've seen them do is just adorable stuff, and this is no exception.
Watch Boston Dynamics robot dogs recreate the Rolling Stones' Start Me Up video, shot for shot. You have to just drop everything and go watch this. It's worth the dip in our
It's
analytics
cute. Yeah.
for you to go watch this.
God, that music video was terrible. What were they thinking?
It
Although
was,
I guess that was a long time ago.
it was good for the era.
That was the style. Yeah. You just danced in front of a camera.
And somehow people watched that and they were like, nah, Mick Jagger's still cool. Even though he dances like
I mean,
that.
that's like TikTok, right? TikTok's just dancing in front of a camera. People love it.
I saw there's a really popular TikToker, and what he's doing, and this is catching on for some reason, is he's using a mirror and just setting his phone down so he can stream games. So you're watching him and you see the game in the mirror.
Oh,
And it's like the most low-tech thing in the world, but the TikTokers love it.
wow.
Huh.
Impressive.
It's just bizarre. And I'm sure there's somebody on Twitch who's set up like all their animations and their triggers and a perfect green screen, and they're just like, oh.
I feel like Twitch would be the better platform for that because you could actually monetize it too. But
I don't know.
Wendell, sorry, I've been playing with your tiki tack the whole time, and then I realized Wendell doesn't have his tiki
Oh
tack.
God, don't let
It's
that spread.
fine. What?
If the compulsions are contagious, I'm getting
Yeah,
out
you're
of
about
here.
to get it next.
I don't want that.
I can't help it. My brain is broken.
Here's we got a lot of comments
About-
from last week. So should we double down?
Axel A. We could say Axel A.
But this turned out to be kind of a nothing burger.
Amazon wants us to stop talking so much to Axel A.
You know what? People complaining about that should just change the trigger word.
We've ordered so many gummy bears. So many.
Alexa, update my trigger word. Does that work, you think?
I don't know.
Probably have to go into the GUI for that one. NFTs are the scourge that we will see plague us for the rest of this year and the coming year. It's going to be awful. Corporations don't know how to get into it, but they've got the FOMO going. They got to try.
McDonald's McRib is now an NFT. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, this is some hipster or like, no, it's McDonald's. McDonald's Corporation is making this NFT.
Official McDonald's. Krista, how do you feel about the McDonald's? First of all, the M is repeated, but also the M is not broken on the left.
I don't like that it's not broken. I don't care about it not being repeated. That's pretty common in logos
It's also not centered.
because the icon will usually appear by itself in some applications, so that's to be expected.
I think this is terrible. Plus, whoever put that up, well, I guess they used like a stencil or something, but how easy would it be to get those bottom yellow parts off? And then it would be really annoying.
It's interesting that they're still using the golden arches, even though like every McDonald's dining room is now like sad and gray and beige.
What do you think the Q rating is on the golden arches? Like
I mean,
95%?
That company's so old at this point, they probably can't move away from it
Right,
without
yeah.
causing a backlash.
I bet golden arches are universal, like worldwide. I bet they're more recognizable than Jesus.
I think it's probably close. Nike swoosh as well.
There it is. The McRib NFT. You can't buy it. Somehow they're giving it away on Twitter.
You can right click it. Right click, save as. Ta-da! I mean, this makes sense because we're not going to be able to buy any goods this Christmas because of the shortages.
Digital goods. But the thing about the Nike thing that I don't quite understand is like you've got a pair of shoes, then you've got the NFT. I don't think they're going to give you that when you buy the shoes.
No.
So it's a weird situation.
What if it's like the McDonald's Monopoly lottery,
I
where
was just thinking about that.
you buy the shoe and you get some kind of an NFT, and it might be a good one or it might be a dud.
I think that's what EA and Epic are doing, right?
Yeah.
If McDonald's was smart, they would do that.
Valve was basically doing that with their trading cards, you know.
Well, loot boxes, right? I'm sure loot boxes will kind of play into it. Be a similar mechanic.
Yeah.
You get some NFTs, you can trade them. Every time you transact them, like Valve, they take a penny or more. It's great. It's bad for everything, including gaming, but it's good for those companies.
It is interesting that Valve, when you think about it that way, it's like Valve rejected NFTs, but they basically created proto NFTs with the card trading stuff.
But you can't take the cards off their platform.
Well,
I think that's where the NFT is going to be different, right?
Is it really? You can't really take it off the Ethereum blockchain either.
But you could resell it other places.
Yeah, I guess.
Do you think you could? Will we ever get into a world where you can take your Call of Duty NFT and put it on your Battlefield character? That's too much crossover, right?
They're exclusive.
I wonder if there's anything in property law and property rights, because that would be like, if that's your property, you can't restrict what you do with your property.
When they argue it's not yours?
There's a lot of exceptions already to
Yeah.
that. How about the right to repair? So if you're a billionaire, you can do almost anything you want as long as you give people money. And they will question it maybe a little bit, but if the sum of money is high enough, or if the item is just free, they will not question it. And you get absolute madness that can happen.
Billionaire seeks to build largely windowless dorm in social and psychological experiment. So this is basically a prison. This is a donation to a school where it's like, all right, I'm going to give you this money, $993 million, and you can build this dorm, but you can't make any changes to it. And they were like,
This is
okay.
not quite, but very close to the Panopticon prison design.
I was thinking prison architect looking at this graph. I was like, this is like the cells I designed for my prisoners.
Typical residential floor plan. And so the billionaire's like, no, they'll have to come out of their rooms and come together because the rooms are very, very small cracker boxes where you only have a bed.
So only the ones on the edges have tiny windows. The ones in the middle obviously have nothing. The ones in between the two with the centerpiece there will look out onto that general area. But there will always be people in that general area looking back. So
God, that's depressing.
you're not
That's
looking
so
at
depressing.
the beautiful outside. He has already built one of these, and it was the same kind of thing. He thinks this is brilliant, and they're going to build this. 94% of the rooms will not have windows.
Here's my question. Doesn't fire code, I know for apartments this is true, like you have to have at least one openable window?
Yeah.
Like what happens if there's a fire in this building?
No, he'll have the fire escape will be built into the hallways probably.
What happens when all those people crowd out in the hallway?
They burn.
Yeah.
There's probably some kind of fire suppression system built in, but yeah, I don't know. I just
It seems like that should be a code violation, but money, if you have enough money, I guess code doesn't matter.
I saw a thread on Twitter where it's like, I'm gonna give you enough money to build a new chem lab. And it's like, all right, thank you, kind donor. And then, but you can't use any wash stations. There can be no wash stations in the new chem
You don't
lab.
need eyesight.
And it's like, well, we can probably work with that. Okay. Also, no fumes. And it's like,
We're not going to use glass.
Yeah.
Don't use glass. Just carry it in your hands.
handling mercury with just your bare hands.
Well,
What could possibly go wrong?
What if what he's doing is building in plain sight the next Squid Game?
I was thinking that this is the plot to the original Ghostbusters movie. Is like you had some crazy billionaire build this building, and then before you know it, that's how you get Zool.
Well, that would certainly make your college experience more exciting if Zool was living in your dorm. If you don't have that, maybe you can get some excitement with some mobile gaming. Oh, everybody loves it. And one of the big hits, of course, PUBG, which is officially now called PUBG, not PlayerUnknown Battleground.
Huh.
Which is a good move, I guess. I wonder how he feels about that. Probably fine, because he is now a multi-millionaire.
Yeah, probably doesn't care.
A $20 billion game company's future hinges on the new PUBG. So this is an article that's like, hey, by the way, this is the company that get most of the revenue from PUBG. There's a lot of competitors. Ooh, they're trying to pivot. Ooh, are they going to be successful?
Here is the problem I see with it. It is almost completely cosmetic. They have not changed the underlying physics or collisions or anything like that, according to Bloomberg.
That was my problem with PUBG. Like before all the hacking problems started, was like
It was janky.
Yeah, it felt a little bit like slow and unresponsive when you were running around sometimes.
Remember when you would climb over something and break your leg?
Yeah.
You got to think that you're thinking of DayZ.
Well, no, I mean, it happened in PUBG a lot,
Yeah,
too.
you take damage. Like, sometimes you would go to hide behind cover and your character would keep running and you'd fall off an edge and then you'd hurt yourself.
I got to think that's probably worse on mobile, right? Or maybe it doesn't matter on mobile because the control is so bad you don't even know.
Yeah.
Well, I always love it when there's a story. God, this is an ugly bird. When there's a story that plays out like, modern fiction. And here we go. It's Jurassic Park. It's not actually that uncommon, but it is weird.
Endangered birds experience a virgin birth for the first for this species recorded anyway. It's the female California condor. There was a bird's nest, and they had some eggs, 2 females. They hatched.
But actually, there were males. They genetically coded the offspring. The males had nothing to do with it. They were cucked.
Wow.
By the females. Honestly, looking at if this is one of the girls, I can see why the males weren't interested. Look at that face. That's hideous.
What evolutionary forces have made it so that, is it because
Maybe there's not enough males?
Well, you can't have mites or anything living in the fur there? I don't know.
Oh, so just their head is bald. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, you made the Jurassic Park reference, but yeah, I think that is actually, like, toads and fish are usually the species that can do that, where they'll, like, spontaneously change their gender or something like that and then have kids without anything to do with another member of the opposite
gave
gender.
the name of it. I don't remember what the name of it is.
Parthenogenesis.
It's rare in birds or vertebrates in general, but it seems like it's happening more and more.
It's basically a clone.
Yeah. Life finds a way.
Tough to be mad at your kids when they're a perfect clone of you. The West Coast continues to have a bit of a homeless problem, and they don't really have a lot of good solutions for it thus far.
This story was heartbreaking.
Yeah, and this is definitely illustrative of how horrific it can be to live on that coast.
California. Homeless students at California College can now sleep in their cars in the parking garage.
Are we not generous overlords?
Now, don't worry. They're going to have access to a bathroom and a shower and free Wi-Fi.
Well, that's kind of how this came about, because they were already doing this, and they were using, like, the gym showers because they're
van life
students.
in it. Yeah.
And then, somebody got their arms in a twist, and it's like, well, they're students at the university. They're trying to improve their lives. Are we really going to give them a hard time? My goodness. And so a bunch of faculty got together. And if you're in this position as a student, the faculty are trying to find you something that's not living in your car. But they hired a security guard to keep an eye on everybody and to try to keep the chaos. And, they're managing, which seems like a reasonable solution, but the problem in the first place is not reasonable.
How hard do you think they'll police the student IDs?
Pretty hard, I'd say.
What if I have a guest in my car who's not a student?
That's actually that's in the thing, and you cannot do that.
I imagine they'll probably have a permit or something that you have to hang in your window. That's like, I'm a van lifer.
Well, it's only 10 p.m. to 7 a.m., so I think all the other students are probably gone at that point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they assume that everybody in there at night is that.
Yeah.
It is the headline is crazy because you look at that headline along with the Intel chip. It's like, look at the excess versus this. But that's the way the world works. Oklahoma inmates are upset, and I've heard about this. Remember the Metallica lawsuit?
Yep.
And a couple of people came after Trump, although he wasn't using it for torture, but using people's music for evil. It makes people upset.
Former Oklahoma inmates were forced to listen to Baby Shark on repeat file a federal lawsuit. Use of the Baby Shark children's song in the manner described herein is known as a device to torment, the filing says. I would agree. If this goes to a jury trial, the jury is probably going to say, well, yeah, you were trying to torment the inmates.
They were cuffed, left standing, cuffed to bars so they couldn't sit down, which is its own kind of torture, and Baby Shark was playing. There are a lot of weak-willed parents watching this who are like, bro, I've listened to Baby Shark way more than 3 hours.
Oh, the hot new thing, I think my friend has a toddler and an infant, and she says that her toddler wants to watch a YouTube channel called Blippi, which is like, it's an educational channel, but she said that the guy is like the most annoying person in the world.
Did you see the Blues Clues guys came back for like the 20th anniversary and made a little video.
Yeah, people were weirdly nostalgic about that. And I was like,
Was that the one where he's like, I never forgot about you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people were like, oh, he's talking to me. And I was like, no, this is to sell Blues Clues merchandise.
Which it will. A lot of it.
Well, of course, everybody wants to be a big star on social media. But how do you get there if you don't have any beauty or talent?
Making news videos, obviously.
You can,
Streaming on Twitch.
You can also just risk your life. That's a quicker way.
Rise of selfie deaths lead experts to talk about a public health problem. The top 3 countries: India, America, and Russia. So this is a guy who has climbed to the top of a TV tower. That's not allowed. That's trespassing, 1. 2, he's not wearing a parachute or a wingsuit, so...
Yeah, he's not even, like, roped to it at all.
If he fell and on the way down he took out my TV or internet service, I would have no sympathy. I would want let's like sue his parents. Let's do something about this. Jesus, it's stupid.
There's it's like a railway bridge in Louisville that looks really old, and apparently a lot of people die on that because they go to take selfies on it. They don't realize it's an actual functioning rail line, and a lot of people die there. All for the gram.
I wonder in that last moment, are they thinking, oh, this is going to be so good and I'll never see it?
They're thinking, that explains why there's a mirror finish on the tracks.
That's the rumbling I've been feeling.
Well, a lot of businesses are trying to go woke to cash in on that. I don't know if it actually ever helps very much, but it certainly gets you in the news. However, you have to be careful getting in the news with wokeness because some people don't know. I don't know. Like, do they not understand that this is all just marketing, or is the marketing making them insane? Both is very dangerous.
Police rush to protect the comic book artist after threat over the bisexual Superman. Yeah, so we covered that in weeks gone by, the comic and the wokeness and all that kind of thing. But yeah, apparently that person's facing death threats, and the police are taking them seriously.
I don't understand being that upset that you would feel the need to threaten someone over a fictional character.
I mean, I was really upset at what's his name did to the Masters of the Universe, but
on the
not
Netflix
enough to
thing.
try to like hurt them.
Not even like if I saw him in an airport, I wouldn't bring it up because it's not that big a deal to me.
Yeah,
Certainly not gonna try to kill him. Well, people get pretty serious about their Superman, I guess. Now, QAnon...
demonetized.
Oh, that's right. Crap.
QAnon.
The Q people, that's probably not even allowed either.
Yeah.
But at this point, it's taken on a religious fervor, don't you think?
I'm a religious person, and it's like it's a new level for me.
But that's the only way that you could keep buying back in. Time after time, they have failed to deliver on their promises.
It reminds me of the pigeons. You know, the guy that conditioned the pigeons to just do random behavior when he would feed them randomly. Like he trained them, and then
there has to be a win in there somewhere. When have they ever gotten one right?
well,
I don't understand this one in particular because it's like why does it matter if he did? I don't.
Because that's just one of these like big. This works in this is similar to cults too, right? You make this big earth-shattering announcement, and people are like, "Well, it's got to be true, right? Because if they're lying about it, we'll know." But then they know and they stay,
Yeah, I don't.
and it's like, well, okay. And on the other side, the cult of the spike. Doesn't matter how many facts there are. That's like, no, we're sticking with this. So here we go.
QAnon believers gather in Dalles awaiting the return of long-dead JFK Jr. And I was like, ha ha ha, this is funny. And then I scrolled down and I saw the pictures and it was, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
The question I just return to over and over is like, why him? Why pick him as the person who's coming back?
Oh, the picture they've got doesn't seem like there were a lot of people there. There was a different picture here. The article that I read had a picture of a huge number of people that were there, and it was scary.
I think it's because he was sort of like a poster boy for capitalism and right wing and that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff in their material is like he was going to make all of these changes, which is why he had to be eliminated.
Yeah, but
Can you serve in a political station if you're undead? Is that covered anywhere?
Well, but if he was just saying that he wasn't dead all along and he was hiding out. But see, this is those kind of grand claims because they believed that, first of all, Trump was going to win the election, right? And then second of all, Hillary was going to go to jail and it was all going to be overturned. And then there was going to be a recount and all this stuff was coming out. And none of that has ever happened. So time after time, they keep failing. But this hardcore group of people still buys into it. It's got to be replacing religion in the human mind. That's the only explanation. And politics as religion is the most terrifying thing I've ever heard of in my life. We're certainly living it.
This is my favorite nonsense story this week.
Oh, this was... How hard...
I need to see the image of this one.
How hard do you have to be looking to get offended by this?
Really, really hard.
It has to be your entire... Well, let me just show you what the words are there, Krista. I don't know if you can see that. You can't see that.
No, I'm blind. Well, it's also like, a JPEG, so it's
you're going to have to get
crunchy.
it from context. I'm sorry.
Pizza Hut hits back after diners complaint about its sexualized tomato sauce bottle.
Now we got to show you the picture. Show them the picture.
So
show chat the
We're
picture.
scrolling down. Yeah.
It was the 3 words that set him off.
I can't see that.
Shake, squeeze, and squirt. Well, she cracked up a little bit.
I mean, I get it, but also it's a tomato ketchup bottle.
What kind of highfalutin ketchup does this guy have that he's not used to ketchup separating a little bit? Like all of that grade of ketchup, it's going to be a little bit watery unless you shake it.
His argument is he was there with his child, and the child immediately said, like somebody else at the table picked it up and they were like, ah, ha, 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 shake, squeeze, and squirt. And the child was like, wait, why is that funny? And he was completely uncomfortable with it.
He's going to have a lot of moments like that parenting that are going to be worse.
Some of the quotes that he said about that were, here. It's not innocent in my eyes. The barbecue sauce one said squeeze, but the ketchup one said that. He couldn't even repeat it. It sounds like an app for swingers.
What?
I mean, come on.
The child's probably already forgotten about this.
Oh, that child is doomed.
Yeah.
I feel so sorry for that child.
If I'm that child and I'm Googling and I find this broadcast in the future or some other article about this happening, it would make me feel better because it was like, that's why I'm so messed up.
Oh.
You don't always get a lot of documentation. It's like, why am I messed up? And you're searching, you don't find out why. You'll find this, and then that's why.
I don't know if that makes your life better or worse.
I don't know.
Maybe it gives you a starting point in therapy.
Yeah, the therapist can actually like the great
Google it, yeah.
And it's like, why are you so messed up? And I go,
Well, here's an article from
they're
2021.
They're not always this easy.
Yeah, that guy's going to have so many sexual dysfunctions, he's not going to understand why. I'm impotent at 25, unless there's condiments involved. Well, the holiday season looks like it's going to be one of shortages. A little bit of everything missing. Krista, you said that you're buying your ham now.
Yeah, my mom wants a country ham, and she's like, I need you to go to the local meat market there and get it now. And I was like, Mom, it's like 2 months before. And she's like, no, we need it now. Yeah, we're going to freeze it.
I have had difficulty buying peanut butter and cat food.
Cat food is a huge problem right now.
Yeah, it's especially when you've got an older cat that's kind of a picky eater.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. My cats had to eat chicken pate the other night. They were not happy about it.
But they ate it, didn't they?
Eventually. Well, but if you face that for your holiday meals, Heinz has basically they've got a solution that equates to nutrient paste. Like the holiday meal is this huge feast, and it's this one time a year
It's gruel.
we indulge and we really take care of ourselves.
Somebody been playing RimWorld?
And Heinz is saying, no, you're just going to eat this processed thing and you're going to be happy.
Christmas dinner in a can promises to answer supermarket shortages. Somewhere inside Heinz, there's a manager. It's like, Jenkins, it was brilliant for you to save the cast-off swill for years in the underground storage vats. We can finally sell it.
Have we contracted to get the mechanically separated turkey remnants hauled off this year? Hold on.
This is actually I mean, it's probably shortage related, but like, it's not a bad idea just for the people who are like lonely and don't want to make a big meal. Just for themselves.
Yes, it is, Krista. It's a terrible idea because when you're halfway through that meal, you start crying.
It's really sad.
But that's not because of the soup.
I mean, they're showing you in the background all that fun-looking stuff, Krista, but that is not what it's going to look like.
No, it's going to be like a brown. Actually, is there a picture of it in the... What's in it? It's probably turkey, maybe some sort of cranberry.
Big chunks of turkey, pigs in blankets, sprouts, and stuffing balls.
Oh.
And I guess broth, right?
Yeah. No, it's just clumps of stuff.
It's so depressing. So incredibly depressing.
I mean, it might be good as far as a canned soup goes.
Just have some chicken noodle soup or some onion soup.
I mean, you can get the little, even just like the little slices of turkey in the freezer section you could do.
You might be able to get that right now. Might not be able to in December. Although, wouldn't it be hilarious if these all sell out and they can't keep them on the shelves?
It'll be like the gravy soda. Remember that? It was like the Thanksgiving meal soda, and it's like it was just so awful and offensive that it actually sold really well.
We should buy a can of that soup and sample it next week. I'll look for it.
I don't know if
later.
it's out yet. It might be.
Oh, is it? Oh, dang it. I'll look for it.
I don't know what we're going to be doing the week of Thanksgiving, too, because I'm going to be gone.
Oh.
All right.
Might record it ahead of time, maybe, or maybe after. Yeah.
That's probably fine.
I don't know. Well, this one is the last story. I usually try to make a fun one for the last story. This is not fun, but it's in the same vein as the engineer with the traffic lights, the woman from Florida with the
why is it always Florida?
The database, and what was the most recent one that we were so angry about?
There's so much stuff to be angry about. It's hard to remember.
But it's just government crushing dissent and silencing voices in really ridiculous ways. This time for Halloween.
Police warn woman not to wear Halloween costume as a protest because then it would be considered a protest, and you have to have a permit for a protest. You can wear a Halloween costume, but if you're making a political statement with your costume, then that's a protest, and that's not allowed. So she didn't want them to build a condo on a public beach, and so she was going to dress up as the condo, which is scary.
The public beach is right now a public park for people. So
that anyone in the city can use, I presume.
Yes, and there's a nice piece of beach. There's some facilities on it. I think there's like little showers and bathrooms. It's a nice little beach place that is owned by the state. So everybody's public land. They want to build a condo there, and people want to get rich from it. So she's protesting that. So she went on Facebook and she was like, hey, I'm going to dress as the building. You all should too. And if you want some signs, I'm going to have them in the back of my car. Let's go to the Halloween party that the city is throwing. And this cop contacted her and was like, no. You will be protesting. You will be arrested.
Nice. Yay, First Amendment. Woo.
I say, what a mild protest too, just dressing up and carrying a sign. Like,
I don't even know if she was going to carry a sign.
They should be thrilled that that's the worst thing people are doing is just dressing up for Halloween.
Now, I assume that cop doesn't care at all. I think he got a phone call.
Yes.
And but he will follow those orders. Remember, they will always follow their orders. And,
if you literally think about following orders, you're already disqualified.
Also, this obviously was Halloween. It's over, but AP didn't update it. She said she was going to go, but she wasn't going to take her kids because she didn't want to have her kids see her get arrested. So they didn't get to go.
And they're going to buy that beach for like pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's definitely. I mean, she's probably right that it is absolutely corruption to the highest degree.
Certainly, if they would need to silence her at a Halloween party, doesn't that give credence to the fact that it is some level of corruption?
Oh, it gives credence to the fact that they have no counter argument.
Yeah. Well, the thing that they do around here is like, if they have a hearing about something like some of our public lands, they schedule it for like Tuesday at like 10 a.m. because they know no one will show up then. And they're like, well, no one said no. And it's like, well, if you had it on like a Saturday, maybe someone would have come. But they don't do that. They don't want to hear it. It sucks.
There's a lot of ways around the checks and balances, which is not how that was supposed to work. But that is how it works.
Woo! Go play on the Minecraft server and or Devember. There's free Linode credits below. $100.
Hit it. Go visit. This will be like a week later now, but we've been checking the Minecraft server out on our Twitch stream as well. So if you want to see that and like see what it's about, watch that VOD. It's probably in there.
A lot of work has gone into the Minecraft server. You don't have to do, you can do a Minecraft thing or you can do a development thing. Either one of those things for Devember.
Also, last year in Minecraft, I think we wanted a building. But I don't think you've set any rules this time, right?
No, there's
Could
no
be
rules.
anything.
Yeah, just make sure that you mark it and put it in the thread so that way I know where to judge it.
I would like to see a giant Cornholio Biden.
Someone will probably do it.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.